All right, what's up, everybody? Please excuse the noise. I'm like 2 feet away from a construction site. I think what they're doing over here, they're ripping up some of the tiles that were uneven, and they're going to, I guess, retile the whole thing. So I guess just excuse the noise. But we'll go ahead and get started here in just a minute, everybody. If you can hear me, and if we are streaming in 1080p, go ahead and give us a thumbs up in the chat, and we will go ahead and get started in a moment here. I want to wish everybody a very happy Sunday. Hopefully you all had a wonderful weekend, and we'll get started here in just a minute. All right, looks like we are ready to go. So good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Walks and Wall Street. Today is December 17th, 2023, and it is a Sunday. So welcome to the Markets Look Ahead stream. Yeah, Helmsman Hangouts is Jets and Giants bad, your volume good. Yeah, and we're next to a construction site here. So I do apologize for the clanging and banging in the background, but that's New York City, so we got to take with it what we may. Now, I apologize. I've been gone for about 3 nights. Business has been picking up headed into the end of the year, and I have a few reasons, maybe a thesis as to why business has been picking up. Now, that's a good thing. You know, working more, getting more deals done. But you know, ever since interest rates have started to come down a little bit, particularly after last week's Fed meeting, right? So as we know, we covered the FOMC meeting at length right here on the stream. Now, the Federal Reserve decided to leave their interest rates, so the Fed funds rate, unchanged at 5.25% to 5.5%, with Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell having a little bit of a dovish conversation in the mix, I should say. Looking out into 2024, he's sort of throwing out the possibility there could be about 75 basis points worth of rate cuts in 2024. The bond market reacted to that almost immediately. Now, as it relates to the housing market, the 30-year fixed rate mortgage follows very, very closely the U.S. 10-year Treasury yield. So if you look at the U.S. 10-year right now, if you pull up your Bloomberg terminal, Trading View, or even if you just go to cnbc.com/bonds. Again, that's cnbc.com/bonds, and go ahead and look at the U.S. 10-year yield. Now, we're under 4%, which is quite significant, judging based upon the fact that about 3 months ago, maybe 2.5 months ago now, the 10-year was sitting at 5%, right? Or even well above 5%, almost, 5.25%. And now we're back under 4. So the 10-year right now trading at 3.928%, and yields have come down. And this is the market sort of pricing in to the possibility for rate cuts in 2024. Now, if you look all the way out on the curve, okay, the furthest you can look out, which is the 30-year, that is at 4%. And I think we may be able to go under that this year. We've had a big rally in the bond market. If you take a look at ticker symbol TLT for a moment, so once again, ticker symbol TLT, that is the BlackRock iShares 20-plus year Treasury bond ETF. Now, we talked about this a little bit ago on the Behind the Street newsletter, okay, and about, I would say, maybe 3 months ago, 2 or 3 months ago, towards the end of October, there was a major capitulation in the bond market, and bonds were really getting crushed. I think this was one of the worst years for bonds on record. Now, we talked about a Wyckoff theory, right? Accumulation, distribution, and sort of what to look for in the market. And whenever you have these very aggressive waterfall style sell-offs in the market, with the market constantly gapping down on very, very high volume, well, I mean, those are pockets of opportunity where you could potentially see a change in direction in the market, and that's exactly what we saw. So as you know, bond prices and bond yields have an inverse correlation, okay? So as bonds are getting sold, so as the prices of bonds are selling off, the interest rates go up. And as rates come down, the bond prices go up. So if you take a look behind the desk here, I'll sort of quickly show what I'm talking about. So this is the BlackRock iShares 20-year plus bond ETF. And right here, this is when we were having this massive rally in interest rates and bond prices were getting crushed. And look at all of this volume coming in here, okay? And almost every single day, you had these gap down sell-offs. That is usually signs of capitulation here, okay? And we wrote about this in the Behind the Street newsletter, particularly in our segment talking about understanding market cycles, okay? Understanding market cycles by Richard Wyckoff, where he essentially outlines a composite operator in the market, which are the institutional investors, family offices, hedge funds, and the like, that slowly accumulate shares of stock, and you have the markup effect, and then your distribution, where you have your markdown and your sell-off. So if you want to take a look at this article I wrote, if you type !news, NEWS, in the chat, the Nightbot will drop the link to our Substack where you can sign up for free. But the point I was trying to make there is that, you know, business has been picking up. I'm in the New York City real estate business, and interest rates have been coming down, and that seems to have been sparking a lot of buying interest. I sort of track my metrics of how many showings I go on, how many appointments, how many listing appointments I go on, and at the last 2 weeks have really been an explosion of activity. And I think it's mainly because of the changes in the bond market and the changes in the interest rate environment. And investors thinking, okay, the valuations have come down a little bit, and now interest rates are coming down a little bit. You know, maybe now is a good time, if I was thinking about purchasing something, to go in and start my search. So interesting movements there. But before we get started, I quickly want to talk about the equity market for just a moment. We'll blow through the futures market because we just opened here about 30 minutes ago. So if you look at ticker symbol ES, which is the S&P 500 E-mini futures contract, we opened about flat, up about 8 points. S&P's trading at 47.76. If you look at the Dow 30, the Dow Jones Industrial Average futures contract, ticker symbol YM, we also opened about flat, but about up 49 points, trading at 37,710. And then last but not least, ticker symbol NQ, which is the very high beta tech-heavy NASDAQ 100 futures contract, opened up about flat as well, up about 8 points at 16,828. Now, I want to point something out here really quick. As we know, the market has been acting well, but the market's trying to break out of this pretty significant cup with handle base. But as you can see, this is a 50-day moving average. This is a 200-day moving average. We're starting to get a little bit extended here. So maybe the boys on Wall Street will run this market into new all-time record highs for the end of the year so they can get a big bonus. And then I think we will start to digest this move here. But this is very bullish. When markets are emerging from essentially, you know, when the market topped here back in 2021, this is a 3-year consolidation base, okay? And if we break in all-time record highs, I mean, you could be seeing potentially significantly higher prices there. So we'll keep that on the radar as the week progresses. But for now, I think that's pretty much the wrap up I have for you guys. So I'm going to close up the laptop here. I will say hello to everybody in the chat, and we'll take a walk around New York City on this pretty rainy day, but it looks like the rain may have stopped. So allow me a moment to do that, and we'll get started. Thank you everybody for joining. I appreciate it. All right.
All right.
Okay, I have the umbrella just in case, so no worries. Well, everybody, it's good to see you all. I apologize for being away the last couple days, but you know what? It was good to be away for a little bit. I went to the Radio City Music Hall, the Christmas Spectacular with the Rockettes, which was just an unbelievable performance, by the way. So if anybody is visiting New York City between now and Christmas, I think the day after Christmas, I would highly recommend to see the Radio City Music Hall Rockettes Christmas Spectacular. It was an unbelievable show. Now, I've seen it once when I was young, like when I was a kid. I think my grandmother took me to see it when I was, maybe 10 years old, something like that. But wow, they changed the entire show. It was an amazing show. They had drones. I don't want to give away too many details for those of you who haven't seen it, but if you saw the show about, I'd say 5 years ago or more, it's a little bit of a different show. So it's not going to be the same old thing. So highly recommend it. So if anybody's going to be in the city for the holidays, check out the Christmas Spec Hotel. I see the LT Prod is here. Diana, what's going on? Patrice 2020. I see my friend D, Austin City Limits. Thanks for joining. Crypto Meme is in the chat. Good to see you as always. Adrian, Michelle Fink. Amy Knight is joining us. What's up, Amy? Hopefully you're having a fantastic weekend. Al. Ooh, that's a tight squeeze. Hopefully everybody's all right. Mary Wong says, hey, Tom from Hong Kong. Hey, welcome to all of our viewers from Hong Kong. It's pretty cool. Lupe is here. Good to see you from Oklahoma. Dan Zhang says, hey, Tom, what a rainy night tonight. Indeed it is. Now, it's weird because they were hyping up this rainstorm almost all week, and it really didn't rain much at all today. Much, if not any. It's raining a little bit now, but I mean, I don't think it's raining too much that I should put up the umbrella. But yeah, Dan, good to see you, and thank you for joining us. All right, let me get to this comment. Warriors says, hey Tom, my son is moving to New York City. Which do you recommend, East Village, Lower East Side, to live? So that's a very good question, but I have a follow-up question for you. Hold on, let me see if I can fix the camera. I'm sorry about that. So it depends on what your son really is looking for, right? Is your son, is he very much into nightlife? Does he want to go out to the bars? Like, sort of, what is his personality? Because East Village, okay, I would say is very fun to live. It's a very fun place to live when you are a college student or a young working professional, right? Let's say maybe 1 or 2, maybe even 3 years out of college if you're living with roommates. I think anything after that, and let me know what you guys think in the chats. We have a lot of New Yorkers here. I think anything after maybe about a couple years out of college, the East Village is kind of too noisy and maybe a little bit kind of dirty. But look, if he's just starting out in New York and this is his first apartment and he's, a college student or something, I think he's gonna love it. Hey, Bree Grams, what's going on? Good to see you. J9 says, storms just getting started down here in Delaware. It's definitely on my way. Yikes. Bree Grams says, I'm finally inspired to decorate when Tom's stream starts. I know. Jeez. Well, it should be a shortened stream. I don't have any, I forgot my little shoulder strap, so I'm gonna have a hard time reading the comments and holding the umbrella. Now, one of the things I noticed today on Fifth Avenue, they blocked off the entire street, which was pretty cool. So there were just pedestrians and, I mean, street vendors and food and a bunch of fun stuff stemming all the way down Fifth Avenue, which I think should take place a little bit more, in my selfish opinion, pretty much because I don't drive a vehicle. But it was awesome. You know, it really brings out the best in the city when there's not a lot of cars. So, I don't know. That was just sort of my thoughts from today. They put these NYPD barricades all the way up and down Fifth, and yeah, it was awesome. You were able to walk directly down the middle of the avenue with no cars, no traffic, no nothing. It was awesome, and I think they're going to do that for the next couple weekends here in New York. And I think they should do that for 6th Avenue. Now, I'm sure you've been watching other live streams, and you've even seen it on our live stream here on Walks on Wall Street. But the week before Christmas is really crazy for tourist activity, like really, really crazy. And it's almost like you're walking amongst sardines, like you're kind of slammed in there. So I don't know, I think they should close down 6th Avenue to give a little bit more breathing room. We're outside of the Trump Tower. It's open until 10 p.m. Maybe we'll head in here to get out of the rain. Sabrina Fair is here. What is going on? Someone says, Tom, I lived on 2nd Street in the Village when I was 24. Tom nailed it. Oh, wow, that must have been a great time. Yeah, I mean, the Village is great. The Village is great. You know, particularly when you're just, you know, graduating high school and it's like your first couple of years in college. You know, to have that freedom from your parents and just go out and just, you know, blow it out in the Village every night is very fun. Now, let's head inside the Trump Tower. Hopefully we don't have any buffering. But it is going to start to rain. And I got to figure out how I'm going to hold my umbrella and my briefcase at the same time. So we'll figure it out. Someone says, how about the Lower East Side? Lower East Side's nice. It's sort of a similar vibe, but to me it's a little bit too far. So depending on what sort of college or university or whatever he's in the sort of the city for, Lower East Side can sometimes feel a little bit too far. I'm actually working on a project close to there. You know, as you head over near like Delancey and things like that. Hey, Money with Tommy, what's going on? It's good to see you. So this is sort of the main dining area down here. If you walk a little bit further over here, this is the grill. So you have the Trump Grill. I've eaten here a couple times with clients. It's pretty good. And then this is relatively new. This is like a bar inside the Trump Tower, which is a little bit ironic because I don't think the former president drinks. Isn't that one of his things or one of his claim to fames? He said he doesn't drink alcohol, but he has a whiskey bar here. Anyway. Hey, Sonia C, what's going on? Says, hey, Tom, how are you doing? I'm doing really good. Doing really good. What about you? Hopefully you're prepping for the holidays. Williams, Tom, good evening. How's your coat situation? Coat's doing good, which I appreciate. I did buy a winter jacket, but it's actually pretty warm in the city, not gonna lie. It's like 50 degrees out. And I'm actually wearing the fall jacket again. Dan Zhang says, Tom, if someone asked you the pros and cons of being a real estate agent, how would you answer that question? It's a tough business. It's a tough business. And I think, you know, I tend to be very positive, so I don't want to give an answer like a deterrent. But I think this is the kind of business where you need to like love what you do. And if you're in a very competitive market like New York, it's going to be very tough unless you have an existing network and an existing book of business, right? So one of the characteristics that I've noticed from a lot of the top brokers in New York City is that they before they went into the business, right, particularly in luxury real estate, they have already done something previous to this, and those two fields, by and large, have been either technology sales, like software sales, telecom sales, or investment banking, surprisingly. And they already have an existing book of business. So, I mean, if you think about, New York, right? Let's say if you want to move to New York City and sell New York City real estate. As you know, there's no salaries, right? So if you're a real estate agent or you're a broker in New York, you don't have any salary, you don't have any benefits, you don't have any, health care, zero, and you live in the most expensive city on earth. So it's tough to start out unless you have some sort of existing money saved up from a previous career. Maybe you had a company where you had a good exit from something, and if you have an existing book of business from an existing career, if that makes sense. I would say that's maybe a con, but not really a con. A pro, you get to interact with some of the smartest, most successful people in the world, right? Particularly if you're selling luxury new development. So yeah, if kind of those are the pros and cons, that's sort of what I would say. And, just depends on what your goals are in the real estate business. Do you just want to sell your entire life, or do you want to, sell to network with developers to launch your own product, your own developments? Do you want to build your own stuff and then sell your own stuff? But I guess that's sort of what I'd say. But it's fun. I love it so far. But it definitely does help to have an existing book of business, which thankfully I did. So that does help. It does help because it's tough. Everybody. Yeah, Vinny says lowest paying easy job. I wouldn't say it's easy. Vinny says lowest paying easy job and highest paying tough job. Yeah. Well, the thing is this. As you all know, this is beautiful here, by the way. I love this little snowflake that they put in the intersection of 57th Street and 5th Avenue. Now, my previous career, I'd say the first 5 years was very, very difficult, right? Because it was building that book of business and going out there and selling. But once you land a couple accounts, right, if you're in tech sales or software sales, telecom sales or whatever, then you get a really nice run rate. So the last 3 years before I made the transition to the New York City real estate business, my job, I'm not gonna lie, was kind of like very easy compared to what I do now. I had very big accounts that I landed early on that would call me up and say, hey Tom, we light up another 500 licenses of this, and then I get a $10,000 or $15,000 commission check every month on top of my salary, right? But that happens later on in your career when you've already built a very big book of business, right? Then it's a lot of referrals, it's a lot of run rate. The software business model is the best business model on the planet, I think. That's why I always say Mark Benioff, who's the CEO and founder of Salesforce, is one of the greatest tech CEOs of all time. That's why I always constantly say that, because he really pioneered the SaaS business model. And if you're not familiar with what a SaaS business model is, it's sort of an as-a-service subscription model, right? Because software essentially used to be sold just on a one-time shot, right? So you buy the license one time, and then in a couple of years, it doesn't automatically renew, and you just have to go to Microsoft and purchase it again. But now all of the software is billed monthly or per annum, and you ring the register every single month, right? And that is what has really created this empire in software, right? Some of the biggest software companies in the world, like Microsoft. That's why, cloud computing companies like Azure and AWS and Google's Google Cloud are so lucrative is because once you sign a customer, right, and you give them the good experience, they're a customer for life, and those are very, very high margin and lucrative, predictable revenue contracts. So a lot of software salespeople out there, right, sell something once, and depending on your commission structure, you're getting a commission check every single month in perpetuity forever. If you structure your deal that way. In the real estate business, you're only as good as your last month, and that is not a good business model. Right, in all transparency, that's actually probably the worst business model you could have. So in my view, if you're thinking about starting a business, don't go into something where you're just going to sell something once and only get paid on it once. You want to sell something once and it rings the register for you every single month in perpetuity forever. And that's really what a subscription-based software business does. In addition to that, does anybody ever notice why, and this is the Plaza Hotel, by the way, it's absolutely stunning. And just to the right of the plaza is the largest menorah in the world. It's the tallest menorah in the entire world. We'll get a look at it from the other angle. But check this out. There's a lot of, I would say, analysts on Wall Street and even on Main Street, right, just investors that say, oh, these software companies are so overpriced and ridiculous, they're junk, and they trade at crazy premium valuations. And usually in bull markets, the software companies, right, like the SaaS sort of business models, they tend to go through very, very aggressive multiple expansions. So they're trading at an extreme premium to price to sales, price to earnings, but it's like that for a reason, right? And the reason is Wall Street likes predictability. Investors want predictability. So if you are an investor or if you're an analyst and you're covering a software stock and they have 100,000 customers that are paying, $10,000 a year on an annual contract, and every 365 days, that contract automatically renews, right? And rolls over. Well, that is extremely, extremely predictable revenue that you're going to always have that at a very, very high gross margin. In the real estate business, right, you're never going to see a brokerage firm like a Compass or a Douglas Elliman trade at a premium valuation of a software company because it's not predictable revenue. There's no subscription service. That's why you'll always see software companies trading at premium valuations because of the predictability of the revenues, of the gross margins, and the like. I don't know, any thoughts about that? Any agreements, disagreements? So we are now looking west. Those two towers at the end used to be the Time Warner Center, but now it is actually the Deutsche Bank Towers, which is quite beautiful on the inside. Maybe we'll actually have time to go in there tonight. Michelle K is here. Says, good evening, Tom and everybody. What's up, Michelle? What's going on? Marcelo Gill says, Tom, why Airbnb is not allowed in New York despite it's done behind curtains? So Airbnb is allowed. Ooh, we have the rainstorm coming. Oh my God, just in time, everybody. Wow, that came in like totally unexpected. How crazy was that? We just had a big rainstorm coming out of nowhere. Anyway, but those are good conversations to have. You generally speaking, if you want to go into business, you want to be able to sell something to somebody once and they continuously pay a subscription forever. It's just less work you have to do. All right, maybe we'll head over this way first. And I think it's going to be a little bit too windy to walk down Central Park South, so we'll just head all the way down 5th Avenue. Might as well. And I may not be able to read all the comments just because I'm going to be fumbling with the umbrella holding my phone, so I'll try my best. But if you guys are enjoying the live stream so far tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video and click the subscribe button if you're new. We usually do these live streams every single day starting at 8:30. Hey, Evan Weeks, what's up? Good to see you. Hopefully you're having happy holidays with your family and friends. Hey, Sparks Carnival's here. What's going on? How are you? Marcelo Gils is going to Plaza. I think that's a fantastic idea, Marcelo. This is why we have you here in the chat. And I think that'd be a good idea because it's raining and we do have a lot of new viewers and listeners. And inside the Plaza Hotel is decorated wonderfully for the holidays. So yeah, let's check it out. Just cross the street here safely and we'll get out of the rain. All right, let me close up the umbrella. Oof. That was like a crazy 2-second rainstorm we just had. It was like a torrential downpour for like 10 seconds. Oh, Mighty Mole says I got 9 holes of golfing yesterday. Very nice. Yeah, I was playing in Normandy Shores when I was in Miami, Florida. Normandy Shores is the sort of like a semi-private island in between Little Buenos Aires. Okay, so this is inside of the Plaza Hotel. Cody, what's going on? Welcome. But if anybody's, interested in sort of doing it yourself and how to evaluate these companies yourself, and assign an appropriate multiple to these particular software companies, if you type !news, NEWS in the chat, it'll bring you to our Substack, our Behind the Street newsletter, where we talk about, a lot of these software companies and how to value them, how to think about these valuations and make sense of it. So feel free to punch in your email and sort of sign up for our Substack there. We publish every other Thursday after the market closes. It's kind of cool, all these like little boxes here. Hey, Nicole from California, what's going on? Yeah, I think they did a really good job here this year in the Plaza. I think my favorite thing about the inside is the chandeliers, which ironically is one of our moderator, Leida, hates these chandeliers. But I kind of like them. I think it's like an acquired taste, I guess. But they're nice. They're quite nice. Hey. Okay. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Have a good night. Yeah, they don't want to videotape. I'm gonna head out. But at least we saw a little bit. I think it's decorated nicely. All right, back out into the rain. Hey, Tom Wilson, what's going on? Cynthia Avis is very classy. Or the LT Prods is very classy. Yeah, it's a nice place. And on the other side is the residences, which you could also make a purchase or rent an apartment in this building, which in 2023, 2024, we may have, well, maybe, I don't want to speak too soon. We may have a listing coming live right here in the Plaza. So stay tuned for that. We'll see. We're talking to one of the residents of the building, and you know, you never know. Maybe depending on certain circumstances, we may, you know, get the listing if he wants to sell. But right across the street, you know, we always talk about the famous stock operator Jesse Livermore. So right in here is the Sherry Netherland. And if you ever read the book Reminiscences of a Stock Operator, one of the greatest, and I would say most well-documented and famous stock market operators of all time, Jesse Livermore, used to go to the bar right here after he would trade in the bucket shops down on Wall Street. That's what they used to call them back in the day. And on Thanksgiving, he unfortunately killed himself in the cloakroom of the Sherry Netherland. So, very good book. A lot of people ask me, what's one of the greatest, you know, investing or trading books? Ooh, I think she fell down. Oh man, that's too bad. Yeah, if you're wearing like high heels or something, particularly, you know, crossing the street on Fifth Avenue, there's so many potholes. Like, look at them all. You can kind of tell now because it was raining. But the streets are horrible here. They've been ripping up the street doing a lot of construction, so you got to watch out. And it's very slippery because it's raining. Man. But anyway, the book is called Reminiscences of a Stock Operator. And it essentially details the life of Jesse Livermore. So if you go to my Twitter page, @WalksWallStreet, my profile photo is Jesse Livermore. You can check it out. But the rumor has it is that before you start working at Paul Tudor Jones' family office or his hedge fund, that's one of the required readings. It's one of the required books is Reminiscences of a Stock Operator. And you have to read it before you can start to work. Hey, Sparks Carnival, this is Tom. Amazon is up 74.75% in 2023, and I think there's still a lot of room for growth, adding ads on Video Prime, OneMed selling cars now, etc. Now, Sparks Carnival, there's a good article that I think you'd enjoy as it relates to Amazon. I think I've retweeted it a couple times on my Twitter. But there's an analyst that goes by the name of Jim Osman. And he has a firm, an equity research firm here in Manhattan. And his thesis is that Amazon is going to spin off AWS and create that as its own separate business in and of itself. Now there's a lot of controversy to that. I've mentioned it once before on the stream and everybody was like, there's no way that, you know, they're going to spin off AWS. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if one day we wake up and we have that headline that Amazon is going to spin off AWS. But yeah, it's a really good article written by Jim Osman. I'll try to program it in the Nightbot, or if not, I'll email it to you. But if you go to my Twitter page, I think I've retweeted it a bunch of times. Hey William, what's going on? Just talking about work. I was fortunate to be a real estate broker in Connecticut, Fairfield County, 45 years, and I loved it every day. Oh wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, Connecticut's a great state. And, you know, a lot of the clients I talk to, I think we have to cross this way because there's a big dead zone over here. But a lot of the clients I talk to in Manhattan are thinking about moving out to the suburbs, particularly in Connecticut, as well as Long Island, you know, Nassau and Suffolk County. I was reading an article, I think one of you may have sent it to me actually. I forget who it was, it may have been Western Mass Dave who sent it to me. But you know how you see all those articles and all the data points about how people are leaving, you know, the state of New York, to go to states like Florida and Texas and the like, which is true, right? You know, the population loss of New York State. But Nassau and Suffolk County are actually seeing net inflows. And that's mainly because, you know, if people can work remote 2 to 3 days a week, and they only have to come into the city, you know, 3 or 2 days, something like that, you know, they would rather, you know, much rather buy a house or like a duplex situation in Nassau County where you have a little bit more space, a little bit more room. You know, you're kind of not living on top of one another. And, you know, also, not to be negative, but, you know, the cleanliness and the crime is another sort of factor, right? Hey, I'm just sort of telling like it is. So a lot of people are actually looking at Connecticut and Long Island, particularly as two places that are more suburbia to move to. But it's really always been like that. However, I just think the remnants of the pandemic has really exacerbated that move. So, hey, Western Mass Dave, what's going on? Yeah, Dave, I thought you sent me an article on my IG about more people are moving to Long Island or something like that. It may have been you. I forget who it was, but anyway. Well, that's cool. You're a real estate broker in Connecticut for over 40 years. Send me an email. I'd love to connect and you know, talk the real estate market if you'd like. Okay, everybody. Now we're walking down Fifth Avenue. It looks absolutely beautiful. Again, like I said during the beginning of the stream, today down Fifth, they closed down the entire street to only allow for pedestrians, and it was absolutely amazing. Hey, JC. Hey, Tom and everybody. What's up, JC? The ABX girl from the Bronx says, from the Bronx, many Bronxies work in Westchester County and Stamford, Connecticut. It's an easy commute for Bronx employees as well. Our good friend and CPA Ed Dunkel says, I always admired parents who raised their kids in Manhattan. Yeah, and I mean, it would kind of be fun too. Look, I'm a big fan of Manhattan. I like it, but unfortunately, and I think we could all agree on this, not to get political, but I think we could just basically make a broad statement. It's tough. It's tough to raise kids in Manhattan, right? You know, if you are, you know, a couple and you have 2 kids or you have 3 kids, you know, you're going to probably need, you know, a 2 or 3 bedroom apartment. And if you want to raise your kids in, you know, a nice neighborhood that's going to be safe, you know, close to good schools. I know we're not supposed to talk about that, but look, you're going to be probably spending, I don't know, maybe like $5,000 to $7,000, maybe even more on rent if you want like a really, really nice building. I mean, I know people, you know, in really nice neighborhoods like Tribeca, right, who are currently renting a 3-bedroom, 3.5-bathroom apartment in Tribeca, and the rent is $15,000 a month, and they have 1 child. Okay, now that's sort of at the upper echelon of the spectrum. You don't have to spend 15 grand a month, but if you want to be in Tribeca in a building that has a swimming pool and a gym, 24/7 concierge, parking in the building, that's how much you're going to pay for a 3-bedroom apartment. The current listing that I'm selling right now at 5 Franklin Place. If you want to look it up, we actually had our open house this Saturday. The address is 5 Franklin Place, apartment 8A. I'll say again, 5 Franklin Place, apartment 8A. It's a stunning property, amazing property, okay? It's 3 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms, and my client is currently renting it to somebody for $15,000 a month. Now, we listed the property for $3,450,000. And look, that's sort of the going rate in that neighborhood. But, you know, if you want to be a little bit more realistic and you have 2 kids in Manhattan, you're probably going to pay just under 10 grand if you need 3 bedrooms. And that's a lot. That's a lot of money. I don't know about you guys. I mean, for me, it's a lot of money. So it's tough. So I definitely do commend that and definitely give it a lot of respect. There was some other data coming out that shows more people are moving to Manhattan, but the working class is moving out, and you have the ultra wealthy moving in at record paces. This was an article, I think, in the Journal about 2 weeks ago. Somebody sent it to me, and this is a lot of what we've been sort of talking about, is that these cities have been, unfortunately, creating a two-tier society where you have the extreme haves and the extreme have-nots, right? I always like to give Manhattan the nickname of the multi-millionaire and billionaires playground, so to speak. And I think something needs to change. I think a lot of the laws for real estate development need to change, because at the end of the day, it's not that complicated. It's the law of supply and demand. So the less housing inventory you have, the more expensive things are going to be. And right now we have thousands upon thousands of apartments sitting vacant in New York City. And many of you might be asking yourself, well, wait, Tom, if there's thousands upon thousands of apartments that are completely vacant in New York City, well, then why are the prices so high? And if the demand's so high, why wouldn't that satiate the demand? Well, it's kind of complicated, and there's a couple reasons for that. Now, the first reason, oh, look at this. This is a good shot of the, hold on, I'm getting distracted. I love the sort of the outer trim. I think that's copper, like a copper outer trim that's getting a little bit rusted, and it kind of turns green on the outside. I love that look. But anyway, it's a little bit complicated because we have a lot of rent controls in New York City. And sort of, it's essentially a cap on how much you can rent your apartments for. So landlords are sitting on a lot of empty apartments in their buildings, but they're not rent ready yet. They're dilapidated, they need improvements, they need repairs. They're not ready for somebody to move in yet, but the landlords are not going to invest the money, okay? They're not going to invest the $50,000, $60,000 to fix up these apartments and get them rent ready if they cannot then turn around and rent them at a profit. So landlords would rather just sit with these apartments totally empty. So it's like a very weird situation we have going on, and that has really been caused by a lot of the rent controls. So yet again, and I wrote a little bit of a thesis, not on this, but something similar in college, about how the government actually created the great financial crisis. I'll try to pull it up in my archives, but it was a very controversial piece I wrote about how there were laws that were passed to try to help, lower income people, and particularly geared towards minorities, to help them get them into homes leading up to the 2008 financial crisis. But they did it in such a way where they set those individuals up for failure, right? Now, the way they did that is by, approving loans which they shouldn't have been able to qualify for. And that led to a lot of, I should say, subprime mortgages being essentially underwritten. But every single government, long story short, every single government program that is designed to help the working class, funny, and it's actually not funny, but ironically enough, does the exact opposite. It actually works to damage the upward mobility and growth of the working class. Almost every single government program. And I think these rent stabilization and rent controls, particularly the rent stabilized buildings, are doing just that, to be honest. So yeah, it's great for, if you're in a rent stabilized apartment and you're paying $800, yeah, it's great for you, but it's not really good for anybody else, because everybody else has to pay crazy rent. So anyway, now this is a good shot of 432 Park Avenue in the distance here, which looks great. And the black building you see right in front of us is the Trump Tower. But we're gonna continue to head down 5th, and we'll check out some of the holiday decorations. Sandra's here from Massachusetts, good to see you. DC 322 says our leadership has failed to grasp to the lower class. Mima, what's going on? Adrian, welcome. Sorry, I'm just trying to read as many comments as possible. Oh, Sparks Carnival says I finally finished my holiday shopping this weekend. Love that. Western Mass Dave says, Tom, please tell me that you had a wonderful time at the Rockettes. Oh my gosh, was I blown away by that performance. If anybody's going to be in the city between now and I think the last performance may be the last day of December, I think, you have got to go to the Radio City Music Hall Christmas Spectacular with the famous Rockettes. Unbelievable show. It was an amazing show. I had a wonderful time, and I haven't been in quite a long time, Dave. The last time I went was when I was a little kid, and the show was kind of almost completely different from what I remember. Now, I don't want to spoil it and give it away if somebody may be watching this and they're saying, oh, I'm going to take my family. So I'm not going to, I won't give away too much, but it was just insane. They had drones, they had everything. It was like the coolest thing ever. It was awesome. It was well worth the money. So if you're on the fence, if you're kind of thinking about going, if you're thinking about taking your family or, you know, whatever, I think it's worth it. It was worth every penny. It was awesome. It was great. Hey, Gary Carpenter, what's going on? Good to see you. Hopefully your weekend went well. Abdullah is here. Good to see you. Lynn says, Tom, I've seen it when I was younger. If you saw it when you were younger like I did, it's a different show from what I remember. It's a different show in a good way. In a very good way, I'd say. All right, so this is West 51st Street. Looking down at the Saks Fifth Avenue display again. Mike NTL says, Tom, how much were the tickets? I think I spent like $200 a pop, maybe a little less. I don't know, we had pretty good seats. But I think it was right around there. But you can get tickets for like 99 bucks, maybe 90 bucks. I went to the 10 p.m. showing. So I went to the latest showing they had. Oh, is that right? Gary Carpenter says they changed every year. Yeah, I mean, regardless, it was fantastic. I enjoyed myself. It was awesome. Awesome show. Hey, Life, Liberty, and Guns, as we saw it in 2001. Hold on. Oh, for a lot less. Got it. Who Dat Dave says $200 is really not bad. No, not at all. Yeah, so I was in the third mezzanine, but I was like right in the front. I kind of like sitting higher up, by the way. I don't like being right at the stage. I like being higher up. What's up, Lance? So the pedestrian traffic has been so, I would say, huge that the NYPD has actually expanded the sidewalk with these police barricades. Now, earlier today, I said it a couple times in this live stream, but we have a lot of new people here. Today, they closed down the entire Fifth Avenue. So pedestrians were able to walk down essentially the middle of Fifth, which is great. I'm not sure if they're gonna do that next weekend. I would assume they are because, you know, Christmas Eve is this Sunday. It's kind of crazy to say that, but Christmas Eve is this Sunday. Monday is Christmas Day. But it just makes you realize how much better cities are when they're very walkable. It's just, I should have taken some footage or shot a video, but I was a little bit busy. But today was awesome. Walking down Fifth Avenue, no cars, just people, was fantastic. Jen Claus is here. What's going on? Welcome. Mariana, Texas is Tom. I'm coming to New York in April to see Barry Manilow at Radio City, but wondered if sitting higher up was better than orchestra level. So I think the higher up you could sit, the better, because it's not that big. Radio City Music Hall, in my view, it's not that big. And if you sit on the, if you send me an email, I'll send you the exact seat where I was sitting. And in my opinion, those were the best seats in the house. It was the highest up you could possibly sit on the aisle, but dead center. And it was awesome, particularly for that show. The Rockettes, amazing, amazing. Oh, John, this is Tom. I'm headed to Radio City Music Hall tomorrow with my family. You're gonna love it. You're gonna absolutely love it. Cynthia says, I like to sit up high at Radio City. Me too. Oh, Mariana, this is Saturday the 23rd. My grandson turns 4. That's fantastic. Well, happy birthday to him. God bless him. Let's head over to Madison Avenue. You can see everybody taking a look at the windows here at Saks. You know where I also went, which was very good? I went to the Capitol Grill, which is next to the Mizuho. So I was gonna go to Del Frisco's. Jen Claus says, is that a steak place? Yes. Capitol Grill is a good steak place. Del Frisco's is very good. Wow, this thing looks super vibrant up close like this. Scott K says Capitol Grill, Boston is great as well. And I love the environment, Scott. The environment is amazing. And I love how it's you know, the booths are kind of that red brushed leather, which I really like too. It's kind of like you're in a 1970s or 1980s Wall Street movie. Hey, Mr. King of Florida, this is Tom. Do you see many motorcycles in New York City? Yeah, actually, yes. Yes. Let's cross the street. I want to see this thing one more time, but from a different angle. Hey, Pete NYC, what's up? Lance's Delmonico Steakhouse in Wall Street is really good. Now, Lance, I could have sworn that closed down or something, but I think they just opened it back up. But Lance is 100% correct. Delmonico's is fantastic. Delmonico's is the place. All right, we'll be able to see this from the beginning here. When we nice. All right, let's see if we can walk down here and check out the tree. We'll try to avoid this massive pool of water. But I think we may have some buffering down here. So I think we start to buffer around right here. Tiff M, what's up? This is Tom. Thanks for being out for us on a rainy night. Yeah, thank you. You know, Tiff, I was in Red Hook today for the open house, and I had two appointments, and they both canceled last minute. I was just kind of hanging out in Red Hook tonight, or today. You know what? Now that a lot of the tourists have sort of, you know, headed out of the city for the night, the tree looks really good because there's not a lot of crowds. Saturday and Sunday, I would really say Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the crowds were crazy. You couldn't even walk up 6th Avenue today, or yesterday, I would say. It's nuts. Yeah, usually when it's raining, almost every single appointment will cancel, but the rain pretty much held off until now. But I get it. Nobody wants to go out in the rain and look at apartments. I totally get that. Hey, Tropical Days, Tom, it was a madhouse there when I was leaving my place yesterday. Oh my God. When I left the office and I tried to go over to 6th Avenue, it was insane. Crazy amount of people. I mean, everybody was roped in like sardines. It was nuts. But look, that's good, and it's bad and it's good. It's good because tourism is, I would say, fully probably returned to New York. And, you know, things are back after the crazy pandemic we had 3 years ago. So it's good news. I like seeing people out and about. That's what I'd say. All right, let's head down by the Today Show. And we will make a left here. But if you're all enjoying the live stream so far tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video and click this every night starting at 8:30. We'll make a right here. I could show you the Radio City Music Hall. I'll show you exactly where I went in. I was invited to see the Nutcracker tonight at 7:30, but I couldn't. I was too busy. I think the theater was on 51st Street or something. Yeah, Sparks Carnival, this is Jerome Powell suggesting interest rate cuts throughout 2024. Yeah, and I mean, you know, the FOMC meeting that happened last week, I think everybody was expecting the same thing in terms of the result, which is to hold interest rates steady or unchanged, right at 5.25% to 5.5%. But what I wasn't expecting is the very, very dovish nature of the speech. It almost came across as if he was declaring victory on inflation. Now, I'm one of those people that never like to celebrate until we're over the goal line. Has anybody seen those? I'm sure we've all seen those videos, right? Where, you know, it's like the Tour de France or like a marathon, where you see the biker, he's coming around the corner, right? And he's pedaling on his bike and he's throwing his hands up in the air and he's cheering. And right past him and wins, right? So I think the lesson there is, I think the Federal Reserve Chairman has done a good job. Oh, I think this is where we start to buffer. Hold on. We'll head up this way out of the buffer zone. Wipe the lens. Alright, I think we should be good as we head up towards 50th. Wow, someone says 55 degrees today, 59 tomorrow. That's fantastic. Hopefully it's 70 degrees on Christmas Day.
I love that.
Alright, so this is right where I went in to see the Rockettes, the Christmas Spectacular at Radio City. Amazing show, I recommend it. Well worth the money. And you can get pretty good seats for a couple $100. It's not bad. So I think this is the line for everybody going in to see the 10 p.m. showing then, right? Does anybody know what time it is in the chat? But yeah, this is probably for the 10 p.m. show. Ah, latest is 10:06. Yeah, so the latest show of the night is at 10. That's the one I went to. So you're probably seeing all the people walk in right now. That's the show I would suggest to see, is the 10 p.m. one. Because you could spend the whole day doing whatever you want. You could go to a big dinner and then walk right across the street and see the show. All right, we'll check out the steakhouse. Now, Del Frisco's is right where you see those big red Christmas bulbs, but that's usually always booked out. Or it's the one by the News Corporation. The other one, there's two, is off to the left here, called Ted's, and then the Capitol Grill, which is great. Hey, Brian Forrest is here. What's up, Brian? Good to see you. Ah, Jeff, yeah, that's true. Jeff W277 says, unless of course you have younger kids, which is probably the case. Yeah, that's true. I got to see it a little bit earlier. Solos, Tom, do you ever go to Sal's Pizzeria? I don't think I've ever been there. Let me screenshot that, Solo. Hold on one second. Took a screenshot. Dining room is better. You'll be able to... Let's see. So this is the bar at the Capitol Grill. So if you're ever early for your reservation, you could actually still come here and they'll just seat you here in sort of the waiting area, which is nice. But the dining room is all the way in the back. The dining room is really, really nice. I think it's closed for tonight, but I would recommend that place. It's fantastic. think this is a big buffering spot. Hey, Zozo Bob, good night to you as well. Thanks for joining us. Life, Liberty, and Guns says, have you eaten at the Capitol Grill on 42nd Street on the east side? I have not. I have not. I definitely will check it out. Hey, Melissa 2087, this is just tuned in. Where are we? So this is West 52nd Street. We were just checking out Rockefeller Center, Radio City Music Hall, but this is 6th and a Half Avenue. Not a lot of people know about this, but yes, there is a 6th and a Half Ave in New York City, which is right here. And this is the UBS, as well as the BNP Paribas, which is the French investment bank, right here. Spark Carnival, yeah, Cote. Korean barbecue, West 22nd Street is amazing. I feel like I was gonna go there, but it may have been booked up, so I couldn't go. I'm gonna check that out. I have to check that out, absolutely. Hey, Jules, what's going on? Welcome to the streams. Hey, Tom, nice to see you. Jules, hopefully you feel better. It's probably going to be a short week. You know, Christmas Eve is on Sunday, so there's probably going to be a lot of people taking off, you know, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Christmas Eve. Christmas is Monday. So I wouldn't be surprised if people take off Thursday, Friday. Would not be surprised at all. Now this is a cool shot of Central Park Tower. The building is so tall that it's actually in the clouds right now. This is the Manhattan Times Square Hotel, and then you're looking down into Times Square. Stephen Bate, that's right, the stock market will close early on Friday. And we'll see if this market continues to run up into the highs and maybe notch a new all-time record high. We'll see. Now, usually what, you know, a lot of managers will do in big money on Wall Street, if it's been a good year, they'll run the market into the highs, or they'll continue to run it into the end of the year for performance bonus, right? So who knows? We'll see. I mean, the NASDAQ 100, I mean, it's in spitting distance of a new all-time record high. S&P 500, the Dow, new all-time record high. So hey, who knows? Maybe they'll continue to run it into new high territory for a little bit of window dressing for the end of the year. But all in all, you know, when you have an over 2-year consolidation now, at the end of the block, that's Barclays. That was actually the old Lehman Brothers back in the day, until Barclays took it over. But you know, when you have a near 2-year, I would say a little bit more than 2 years, of sideways action in the market. Now, we have to realize we've been through a brutal bear market. This was a brutal bear market. I mean, individual stocks throughout 2021 and 2022, some individual stocks were down over 70%. right? At the beginning of the live stream, we were talking about, you know, the high beta SaaS, software as a service companies. A lot of those were down over 90%. You know, you had a lot of these special purpose acquisition companies go bankrupt and totally get blown out. So the bear market really did shake and blow out a lot of the, I would say, the excess froth in the market. And that's what bear markets are designed to do. If you read my last article that I wrote in the Behind the Street newsletter, if you type !news, NEWS in the chat, the Nightbot will drop the link to our free financial newsletter. But one of the things I wrote about 2 weeks ago is that the bear market has done exactly what it was designed to do. Bear market is designed to shake out a lot of the speculative excess and enthusiasm in the market. And one of the things that we've been talking about a lot is a lot of these SPACs, right? The special purpose acquisition companies that really took off due to the pandemic-induced monetary and fiscal stimulus, which was pretty much just a big cash grab, right? A lot of these companies, in my view, were just totally fraudulent. And a lot of them, I would say the vast majority of SPACs are now trading below their list price, and some even trading under $1. And many of them have just gone bankrupt and gone out of business altogether. So that has been a total washout. Then you had the big shakeout in the, you know, the software as a service, enterprise software stocks that, due to all these artificially suppressed interest rates, were trading at really high multiples to sales, really high multiples to earnings, if they've had any earnings, and they've been really crushed. But the good news is sort of this, and I think this is not what a lot of people, and this is, you know, what a lot of people are sort of seeming to forget. And it goes back to the order of liquidity thing that we constantly talk about. When interest rates start to go up, the asset prices that will reprice the fastest to accommodate a higher rate environment are the asset classes that have the highest liquidity, right? So like equities. The slowest to reprice is illiquid or relatively illiquid asset classes like private equity and real estate, right? Particularly commercial and residential. So as these valuations of these software companies and SaaS come crushed, we're on 10%, so I gotta plug it in. But assuming the market goes back to a time, let's see if I can plug this in. Oof. Where the market will then reassign, you know, 10 times sales, you know, 15 times sales to a lot of these stocks or whatever. I'm just picking a random number. I would say that there's a lot of stocks out there right now that don't look like egregiously overpriced to what a lot of people think, if that makes sense. So, you know, for example, there's a good book. I would really just read everything one of the greatest stock market operators of all time has put out, Richard Wyckoff. He sort of outlines his, you know, Wyckoff methodology. And if you look at a lot of the, let's say, the high beta ETFs, which is pretty much the Cathie Wood ARK stuff, you know, she just essentially loaded up her entire fund with these crazy innovative companies that some are, you know, don't even have any profitability, just total pure gambles. There's a lot of individual stocks within those funds, now not all of them, but a lot, that are actually showing improving sales and revenue growth and that are being slowly accumulated again. So if you go on Google Images and you type in Richard Wyckoff accumulation distribution, and you look at the images and sort of read through the articles, you know, you can see there. And then go and look at some of these ETFs like ARK, ticker symbol ARKK, that has been really, really hammered and beaten down. And you could physically see the market cycle in action. And I think the market is yet again, in some of those select names, are being reaccumulated by the smart money, right? If you want to see an example, like a clear-cut example of that, I included the infographic in our recent newsletter. If you want to read that, if you want to sign up to read it, you could type !news, NEWS in the chat, and the Nightbot will drop the link to the Behind the Street newsletter. This is one of those smoke shops. Seems like there's so many now popping up. Hey, Andy is here from South Korea. Good to see you, Andy. Thanks for joining us on this very blustery night in New York City. But you know, on the other hand, if you look at major moving averages on the indices, we are short-term extended here, particularly from the 200-day and the 50-day moving averages. So keep that in mind as the market may pull back. Hey, Daniel's is nice channel. Feels like I'm playing GTA all over. Funny. Yeah, we were just streaming in Miami, where I think the new GTA game is going to be based on. Supposedly, from what I've been reading, wow, look at the, so this is the Penguin Random House. I think this is what, the publishing company? Look at how sleek and beautiful the lobby of the office building is. What do you guys think about the interior decoration of this office lobby? This is very much my style. Very minimalistic, very sleek, very beautiful. I like it a lot. And this is the Penguin Random House. What do you think? I like this style. Simplistic, not too overbearing. I like it. Yeah, Mars Tech's is easy to clean. Now, I would say my favorite office lobby in the city is Nürburgring Berman. Is anybody familiar with that? Sparks Carnival says, Tom, I'm still bullish on Mercado Libre in 2024. Their operating profits are skyrocketing. Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that. One of my buddies sent me an equity research piece on Mercado Libre. One Two says the side tables are knockoff casino tables. I don't even know what that is, to be honest. Dave. This is Tom. I've seen your old apartment, one picture on the wall. I think I had two, actually. Wait, I'm trying to think. My old apartment. Yeah, in Central Park South. I had the picture. It was my favorite picture, by the way, Dave. I love that picture. I still got to hang it up. It's in storage. I gotta get it out of storage. I've just been too lazy, but the only real pieces of artwork I own are two particular pieces that are amazing. I can post some of those if you want. I'll try to dig it out, but it's an amazing painting of picture you're standing behind George Washington right at Federal Hall. right? The big George Washington statue, overlooking the New York Stock Exchange. And then I have another similar one that's looking at the New York Stock Exchange, but it's sort of like a 3D rendering, which is very, very cool. Yeah, that's another thing I got to do. I got to get that out of storage and figure out what I got to do with that. All right, so we are back on Billionaires Row, 57th Street. Hey, Michael XG says, long time, Tom. Hope all's well. Hey, good to see you as well. Happy holidays, Michael Welsh. Hopefully you're enjoying tropical weather. I think you said you bought a place in Puerto Rico or something. It's probably much nicer weather than it is here. We just got a direct hit on the camera lens. A direct hit. But this is my favorite building in the city, my favorite residential building, I should say. This is 157. This is the first building ever on New York City's Billionaires Row. And it's my personal favorite. I love this building. I want to live in this building one day. It's an amazing, amazing building. It is also the Park Hyatt Hotel. Hey, Nina is here, long time to join. Hi, Tom and team. New York City looks very cold and calm. It's actually not too bad tonight. It's kind of, I think it's like 55 degrees. It's kind of warm. Michael says, I miss New York though, but it's been crazy back home. So I left for a while. Well, I mean, that's not a bad place to be, Puerto Rico, right? I mean, my God, tropical weather, that's what I love. It's a very similar climate to Miami, I'm assuming. I love it. Trust me, you don't have to tell me about the tropics. I'm all in, totally bought in. But yeah, it's good to see you. Let me know when you're back in New York. We'll have to meet up, but it's good to have you here. Yeah, Oscar Diaz says it looks like the rain's picking up a little bit. Definitely is. Someone says, where are we? We're headed up towards Columbus Circle. To be specific, this is 3 Columbus Circle that we're standing outside of right now. We just crossed 57th Street, which is New York City's. I'm trying to wipe the camera lens, hold on. I think that's good. Which is New York City's Billionaires Row. Hey, Andrew says, good evening, Tom and friends. Hope you had a lovely weekend. I did. It's a fantastic weekend. Couldn't ask for better weather in New York, besides the tail end of today. Hey, Christian says, Tom, any tips for a finance consultant transitioning to a bigger tech role at a FANG? Well, I think it's probably going to be a more lucrative opportunity for you. Now, let me read that comment again. Sorry, I'm just kind of all turned around here. Christian says, Tom, any tips for a finance consultant transitioning to a bigger tech role at a FANG? Well, honestly, I think you're going to find it at first. Well, what's your particular role that you're going to be doing at the FANG company? I think your overall career longevity and trajectory is more lucrative. I really think so. Also, your work-life balance is going to be a lot better. If you were in consulting, right? I mean, that's like grueling hours. But it's a different world, right? And I think in tech, working in tech, it's all about efficiency. And, you know, if you can get your work done and, you know, do what you have to do, it's not going to be those grueling hours in the finance world or the consulting world, right? Oh man, it's so brutal, the wind. Hold on, we gotta fix this here. But yeah, if you send me an email, we can connect. But in my view, I think it's probably going to be a more enjoyable experience for you, depending on what your interests are. And long-term career trajectory, it's probably going to be more lucrative. Right, now we are outside of Columbus Circle at the Deutsche Bank Center. You know, consulting jobs, right, if you want to, you know, be a lifer and sort of stick it out and, you know, become a partner, you know, yeah, you'll make, you know, $1 million or a little bit over $1 million in total comp every year, 100%. But like anything, you know, it's very grueling to be able to do that in the first, you know, 10, 15 years of being a consultant at like a Deloitte and EY. But in the tech world, I think you have a little bit more flexibility to be creative and work on what you want to work on. Also, if you want to start your own business or build out your own infrastructure, I think you're going to have a little bit more time to do that. Right now, I'm not sure what your, you know, creative ventures or what your personal goals or aspirations are, but I think working in tech, particularly, it depends on what you're going to do, right? That's a very big, broad statement, working in tech. You could be a SWE or software engineer. You could be in sales, right? You could be in enterprise tech sales. You can be a PM, like a project manager or something like that. But generally speaking, you're gonna have a lot more time to like hone your craft and build out your own infrastructure, if that's what you're looking to do. I'm using the umbrella as a windshield. The wind is probably around Columbus Circle 25, 30 miles an hour easy. Hey, Sunshine NYC, what's going on? Always a pleasure to see you. Hopefully your holidays are going fantastic. Hey, Hawaii. Thanks for joining us on this very windy and soggy live stream outside of Columbus Circle. Tomorrow I have to go buy a microphone. I think I've left mine in Miami. I can't find it. I was looking around all over the place for it. I have to go over to the east side anyway, so let's cut over. Hey, hang with Mark Maham, good to see you. RB says, hey Tom, New York looks like Miami the last 3 days. Very strange weather here. Really, what's been going on in Miami? I have to check on the weather there. What has it been, rainy, stormy, windy? Oscar Diaz, Tom, I concur with your statement. Good to see you. White Glove Etiquette says, hey there, Tom. Good to see you. B-Balls, Tom, thanks for withstanding the elements for us. No problem. No problem. It's not as bad. I think it looks worse than it actually is tonight because it's warm. I could do the rain if it's warm weather. So, ooh, Western Mass Dave says, Tom, it's been tons of rain in Miami. Yikes, I gotta go check in on my place. Al Baker says, Tom, we've had terrible weather here in Miami for the last 3 days, but it's pretty clear now. Whew. Yeah, I mean, thank God when I was down there in South Florida, it didn't rain. It was a little bit cloudy and it was a little bit cold, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, not cold. I mean, at night it was 65 degrees. But that's cold for South Florida. It's definitely cold for South Florida, so. This is the 59th Street Columbus Circle subway station. Oh, James, is the same storm that hit Florida the past few days have traveled up the Northeast. That's probably what we're getting now. It's definitely probably what we're getting now. Condominiums that are lining the High Line. So we just landed a brand new development. So we are tasked with selling out a whole condominium on 19th Street near the High Line. This is Maria. This is a Michelin star restaurant that is very, very good. But I will be there filming one of our property tours of the penthouse. So on Thursday, when I send out the newsletter, at the very, very bottom of the newsletter, I'm going to include the exclusive tour of the penthouse on 19th Street. I think you guys are gonna like it. I'm checking out, I'm doing a walkthrough tour of the property. So, excited for that. We're passing 220 Central Park South. This is one of the most exclusive addresses in all of New York City. Right here. Wow, RB, this was actually 5 days straight with winds gusting 40 to 50 miles an hour nonstop. That I hate. That I can't stand. Hey, Carl Ross, Tom, 130 William condo. Video is nice. Yeah, 130 William is it's one of my favorite buildings in Manhattan. It's a very, very cool building. That sold very fast. That was one of the best-selling condos of last year. That's Hawaii's favorite building. I mean, the exposures are great. You see all of Brooklyn Bridge, Manhattan Bridge, all of Lower Manhattan. It's really fantastic. Now, before we sign off, so we have a couple new announcements going into 2024. So I was away in Miami last week, and I was doing some planning for 2024. So there's going to be a few changes with the live stream. Well, not really, but we are going to segment Walks in Wall Street into 3 separate, distinct channels, starting in 2024. There's going to be no change on this stream. This will only be for the live stream, right? So the 2-hour show that we have from 8:30 to 10:30 every single night will still be in effect, but we are going to have a Walks in Wall Street real estate channel that we will be uploading all of our property tours on. So any listings we have, any new developments that our team is leading, that will all be on the real estate channel. And then, which will kind of be like a newer sort of aspect to the channel as we pass Alwyn Court here, is we're going to be doing behind the desk sort of quick 5-minute market breakdowns, right? So if you read the newsletter, if you read the Behind the Street newsletter, I'm going to be doing a video version. So you guys are going to be able to see me in the office right there at 575 Madison. We'll be doing some in-depth stock analysis. We'll be doing tutorials on how to build DCF models. So it's going to be very, very in-depth and just basic market overview. So it's going to be me behind the desk most of the time in Madison Avenue. And I think that's going to be about a twice-a-week thing, and that'll be its own separate channel. I think it's better we keep them sort of segmented so nobody gets confused. So Sparks Carnival says, oh, I was hoping for a TikTok reaction channel. That's coming in 2025, Q1 of 2025. But yeah, I think that'll be better, just to keep things a little bit organized, not all over the place. And we have some amazing listings coming up in 2024. It's going to be an amazing year. It's going to be a monster year, I'm telling you, for everybody, not just me, but for all the viewers. It's the greatest time to be alive in history of the world. Unlimited opportunities for everybody. And I guess we'll end it there, team. So thank you for joining us here on Walks in Wall Street. If you've enjoyed the live stream, feel free to leave a like on the video and click the subscribe button if you're new. If you'd like to be signed up to receive our free investing newsletter, go ahead and type !news, NEWS, in the chat, and the Nightbot will drop the link to our Substack. Just go ahead and click that link and you will be signed up to receive our Behind the Street newsletter every other Thursday after the market closes. So Abdullah, thank you so much for joining us. Laytha, Michael Joseph, Gary Carpenter, Lori, Richard Vogel, Jen Claus, Sunshine NYC, Hawaii, I appreciate you. Thanks for everything. Sally, Dale, Solo Flyer, Jules, Optimus 17, Turtle Sweetheart 21, Touted Tara, Solo, Unij 23. Remember, there's always a bull market somewhere. You just need to know where to look. Unlimited opportunities for everybody in the US of A, my friends. I'll see you tomorrow from the greatest city in the world. Take care.